It's safe to say that Minecraft is a phenomenon that will never happen again. Being the best-selling game of all time, you know that spin-offs would be a priority. I mean, why not make a new game to capitalize on the success of another game? But over the years, Minecraft has received a number of side games and spin-offs. The most recent Minecraft spin-off is Minecraft Dungeons, which was a highly anticipated new take on the series. But at the end of the day, this was really just a watered-down version of Diablo, and it quite frankly wasn't that good. However, there was one game, or I should say a set of two games, that began all the way back in 2015 that eventually faded into obscurity. Of course, I'm talking about Minecraft Story Mode. Despite what people think now, this game had a very mixed reception when the game was first released, but it was apparently successful enough that it warranted a sequel, so that's something. This series seemed to create a major cult following, and I was actually a part of it. After Season 2 came out, people were highly anticipating a potential third game, and I was one of those people. But unfortunately, it was soon announced that Minecraft Story Mode would be discontinued, with any hope of a third game being crushed. But why did this happen? Well, that's what I'm going to be discussing in today's video. I've also brought on the help of Imaginary Taco for this video. You may know him from some of his Minecraft videos, but anyway, let's get into it. This is how Minecraft Story Mode faded into obscurity. So Minecraft Story Mode was a fresh take on the ideas of Minecraft. Instead of a sandbox-styled game where the world is your canvas and you have the freedom to do whatever you want, this was a much more driven experience. For this project, Mojang collaborated with the game studio known as Telltale Games. Telltale Games had experience beforehand with making episodic games in the style of a visual novel. The decisions you make as the player would ultimately affect the outcome of the story. However, there was never really much game to Telltale Games. Most of the time, you would only get to select what the protagonist of the story says and not much more. Of course, there were moments where you could walk around and do some side things, but most of the game consisted of dialogue selection and quick time events. Think about it this way. These games can stand on their own as a film or TV show without being a game. But before Minecraft Story Mode, Telltale had a pretty good track record. They had experience with franchises like Batman and The Walking Dead. These games had a pretty good reception, but it wasn't really clear how they would handle a story adaptation of Minecraft.
With the type of game Minecraft is, there isn't much of a story, if any, which means that Telltale had to make a game that would translate Minecraft into a story mode setting. When the game was first revealed, many fans had mixed opinions. The game seemed to be a unique story that had its own characters, but it took place in a Minecraft world and used Minecraft terminology.
Many people didn't mind this, but a lot of Minecraft fans in particular thought it was tarnishing the Minecraft brand, and understandably many people were skeptical about how the game would eventually turn out. Anyway, the first episode of Season 1 was released in 2015, and yes, I said the first episode. Telltale likes to release episodes of their games monthly until the game is fully released. This is actually kind of smart because it makes people want to come back for more, but the final DLC episode was released in September 2016, almost 1 year after the first episode launched. I say DLC episode because there was a separate downloadable quote-unquote adventure pass that included 3 more episodes that were released a little while after the 5th episode was released. But anyway, the game was released and it understandably had a mixed reception.
The main reason why these games received so much criticism in the first place was because it didn't really feel like Minecraft. Visual novel style of gameplay, while cool in concept, didn't really translate well in a Minecraft setting. It's cool to see Minecraft try new things, but in execution it just doesn't work out that well in my opinion.
This is a game after all, and the gameplay is understandably boring to most people because you just go through the motions over and over again. Just click what you want to say, and occasionally you would get to walk around and do some side stuff. Most of the side stuff though is just mindless puzzles and item collecting. Other than that, all the game has to offer gameplay-wise is quick-time events that show up every now and then, but that's honestly it. For the first game, at least. The second game has way more to do gameplay-wise. You can actually build in this game, which is a Minecraft staple. It's a very rare occasion, maybe once an episode, but you're limited to where you can build and what materials you can use. But hey, it's still cool. Along with that, the combat in Season 2 is way more fleshed out than in Season 1. Season 1's combat system was really just glorified quick-time events. Season 2's combat offered a lot more variety and gave the player more control. Overall, I think Season 2 is the more enjoyable experience gameplay-wise. But of course, the story and characters are the most important part of this game, and they're just kind of okay. The writing is pretty cheesy, which is to be expected, but in my opinion, it's not as bad as what some people say. Many people claim that the writing is on par with something you would see in a kids show, but I kinda disagree. It's not great by any means, but it's not that bad. It just kinda gets the job done.
The characters in these games are also just okay. Jesse, voiced by Patton Oswalt, who was actually a pretty big name and was in films like Ratatouille and even Eternals. There are actually a few big names who voice characters in these games, and that's really cool to see.
Anyway, Jesse is our protagonist and whose dialogue we control. Most games where you get to control the dialogue for the main character make it so the main character doesn't really say much, but that's not really the case for Jesse here. This is not a complaint, by the way, I just wanted to point that out. Jesse as a character is generally well-rounded at times. He sometimes acts cocky and arrogant, but he's generally just your everyday good guy hero. At least that's how it seems on the surface. The things you can make Jesse say can really change his personality and character. You could choose to make him a good guy hero, but you can also choose to make him a downright jerk, and it's honestly kind of hilarious how they make this work. We also have the side characters, of course, Petra, Lucas, Olivia, Axel, and Ivor. Olivia and Axel serve way more importance in episodes 1 through 4, and then never again. Not even in season 2. I mean, their personalities are about as shallow as they can get. Their personalities just kind of boil down to nerd and anger issues at the end of the day.
Petra, Lucas, and Ivor serve more purpose throughout the series, and their personalities are more fleshed out. Petra and Lucas's personalities are actually pretty similar now that I think about it. Lucas is definitely more cowardly, but they also share many similarities.
Ivor has the most interesting character in the series, in my opinion. I mean, he ends up becoming a good guy after episode 4 of season 1, and the transition just worked really well. The other important side characters include the Order of the Stone, which, holy crap, you thought that Axel and Olivia's personalities were shallow? Every member of the Order of the Stone, except for maybe Soren, are not just shallow, but are also so extremely boring. We have Gabriel, who is just your generic hero. We have Eligard, who shares many similarities with Olivia, as she is also just a quote-unquote nerd. Magnus is just kinda cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, as he's obsessed with explosives and stuff. And of course, we have Soren, who, to be honest, I don't really know how to describe. He's just generally a chill dude who just wants to start his own life away from drama, but he's also ill-tempered and gets pissed off all the time. Season 2 brings the introduction of Jack and Radar, who, I'm gonna be honest here, Radar is the most annoying side character, I think. He's just so freaking annoying, dude. He's forced into the story for comedic relief, and it's really awful. Season 2 also introduces Stella and the admin, both of whom I don't really care to talk about because I would be saying things I've already mentioned. So overall, there are some good characters and there are some not so good characters, but let's move on to the story.
Episode 1 through 4 of Minecraft Story Mode Season 1 follow the main plot of the story, with episodes 5 through 8 focusing on side plots and adventures. The story begins by introducing Jesse, Olivia, and Axel, along with their pet pig, Ruben, who are social outcasts who just want to show what they're capable of. They end up joining a building competition in order to get the attention they want. They end up running into Petra, who is pretty much a bounty hunter who takes side jobs and stuff. She gets tasked with delivering a wither skull to this dude named Ivor, and things only go south from there.
Before we continue on, we gotta talk about the Order of the Stone. The Order of the Stone, as mentioned before, was a group of heroes consisting of Soren, Eligard, Magnus, Gabriel, and Ivor. They end up defeating the Ender Dragon, which is how they gain their popularity. But what the citizens don't know is that they didn't really defeat the dragon normally. They actually used a command block to get rid of it, which isn't revealed until later in the story, but it's relevant, so I thought I'd mention it here. The Order of the Stone eventually split up, which caused everyone to do their own thing. But anyway, Ivor wants to unleash a wither on the group of people at EnderCon, the convention where the building competition is taking place, in order to prove that Gabriel is just cowardly and not an actual hero. But things go south as Jesse and the gang try to stop his plans, but end up only making things worse by stealing a potion that's supposed to control the thing. Things start to quickly grow out of hand as the wither eventually grows and starts killing everybody. It's now up to Jesse and the crew to gather the members of the Order of the Stone in order to defeat the wither.
This is the origin of how Jesse and the crew became heroes. After many deaths, side plots, and conflicts, they end up defeating the Wither at the cost of Ruben's death. This was actually a sad moment. It was actually handled really well.
Anyway, our group of heroes became the new Order of the Stone, and that's pretty much the first half of season 1. The second half consists of side plots as Jesse and the gang travel through different worlds while trying to make their way back home as they're stuck in a network full of portals. So the next 4 episodes are just them trying to fight the right portal. Despite how dumb it sounds, I actually think the last 4 episodes are the best in the series. The 5th episode is nothing to write home about, but it has its moments. The 6th episode is pretty cool because they hired a group of YouTubers to play their roles in a murder mystery style scenario. And I never thought I would play a game where I accuse Stampy Longnose of murdering Captain Sparkles in cold blood, but hey, I like surprises. I think the 7th episode is the best one. Jesse basically has to stop a supercomputer from taking over a village, and I just really like how the writing is in this one. It just feels the most complete out of all the episodes. This episode also introduces Harper, who is one of the old builders that helps us get home. The 8th episode has Jesse accidentally joining a Hunger Games style situation ran by the old builders, and if he wins or something like that, then he makes it back home. Alright, well that covers the adventure pass or whatever. I think these episodes have way better execution and writing because they don't have a continuous story to worry about, which means that they don't drag on as much. But that's just season 1. Season 2 brings 5 more episodes, but we don't have any side adventures here, just one continuous story. Right off the bat, I think things have definitely improved in season 2. There's more interactivity and things to do. The places you visit in this game just feel more alive and, well, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. This game just generally has more polish and fixes some of the flaws that season 1 had. which is to be expected of course, but it's still nice to see.
Anyway, the story begins with Jesse finding this gauntlet thing. It actually belonged to an underwater temple, so they had to investigate it. Somewhere they accidentally awakened the admin who can shapeshift and junk, so they had to stop him. They ended up getting in prisons, so they had to break out. And when they eventually made it back home, everything was in ruin. They eventually defeat the admin and everything is good and well. So yeah, that's Season 2. Of course, we still have our side plots and other stuff, but that's just a quick rundown of what happens.
Season 2's story is generally more fleshed out and packs in way more character development and side plots that actually contribute to the overall plot. For instance, Petra doesn't want to lose her friends because everyone's doing their own thing besides adventuring, and the story with the 3 admins and how they were originally friends, but one admin got too corrupt and started going crazy, so you meet Zara, who was an admin, who was imprisoned by the only remaining admin. Gameplay-wise, it's more of the same from Season 1, but with a little more gameplay element mixed in.
Season 2 just generally had more interactivity than the first season. It mixes more gameplay elements and includes more inspiration from the Minecraft source material.
I generally like the story of Season 1 better. I think as a game as a whole, Season 2 is just better, but unfortunately Season 2 still didn't really perform that well. The game faced mediocre reviews, which I think is part of why the series was discontinued, but that's not really actually why the game was discontinued. So why was it? Well, let's go back to Telltale Games. In short, Telltale went bankrupt in 2018 simply due to the lack of funding. This caused Minecraft Story Mode, along with many more Telltale IPs, to be dislisted from digital storefronts. Yep, all 13 platforms. PS4, Xbox One, PS3, Xbox 360, Wii U, Nintendo Switch, Windows, Mac OS, Android, iOS, Fire TV, Apple TV, all gone. Watered down versions of the first 5 episodes of Season 1 were even ported to frickin' Netflix, and, well, these kind of suck, but, you know, that's besides the point.
The only way to play these games now is to have the complete adventure disc for Season 1 because all episodes are preloaded on the disc. You have the Season Pass disc, but never downloaded the episodes? Oops, sorry, no can do. Oddly enough, though, it'll still let you download the Season 2 episodes if you have the Season Pass disc, which is just something I thought I'd point out.
Now that just begs the question, will these games ever return? Well, funnily enough, Telltale Games is actually back under new management and creating new games as we speak, but Minecraft Story Mode is still delisted and we're still uncertain if it'll ever see the light of day again. So all we have left now is a mediocre series of games that ultimately faded into obscurity with no sign of it ever returning ever again. But that was pretty much the history of Minecraft Story Mode. Have you ever played this game and do you really think it's good? Let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you to Taco for hopping on this video with me. It was really nice having him on. You should go subscribe to his channel too. He makes a ton of cool Minecraft videos. But with that being said guys, thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.